I think he wants an intro. He deserves an intro. So let's give it
I
to him.
love intros. They say such nice things. It's not like every day you get to hear these things.
I'll start from the beginning.
Especially if you've worked a year and a half on a Sanjay Leela Bhansali set, you don't get to hear nice things.
Lots of nice
Usually
things
it's
here for
tujhse
you.
na hoga beta. No, please, ma'am. I'm only
Lots
kidding.
of
I'm
nice
only
things here
kidding.
for you. A
So
quick
many nice
paragraph.
things. Wow.
A comparatively new entrant to the Bollywood A-listers club, Ranveer made his debut in 2010 with Band Baja Barat, but he really came into the limelight with his role in Lutera in 2013, and there has been no looking back. It's like Dil Dhadakne Do, Gunde and Bajirao Mastani followed, and Ranveer is now one of the most sought-after actors in the industry. His latest release, Padmavat, of course, has done him no harm, and neither have his decisions to endorse a condom brand or to shed his chocolate boy hero image. Good to have you here, Ranveer.
Thanks, ma'am.
Good to have you here. Enjoy yourself.
Wow, made my day.
Enjoy yourself. You made ours.
I'm already enjoying myself. Thank you. Please join in. All of you.
Ranveer, in less than 8 years, you've gone from who's that guy that Yash Raj Films is launching to the country's youngest superstar, the most successful superstar. In fact, as of yesterday, 50 days of Padmavat, the film has done 300 crores, which makes him the only young superstar in that coveted club. The only other two members are Amir and Salman, both over 50, the only young superstar in that club. Ranveer, was it hard work? Was it sheer, sweat, hard work? Was it luck? Or was it an insane amount of talent?
300 crores. Thank God is very kind. God is very kind. Producer happy, to main happy. It's awesome. A film does these big numbers. Your films become bigger. They reach a wider audience. It's very empowering. I'm very, very happy that this figure has been reached, especially for the sake of the producers.
Sure.
They took a big risk investing that amount of money, mounting such an expensive film. So I'm really, really happy for them. I couldn't tell you how I got here. Honestly, I ought to be pinching myself sitting in front of you all today. Something or the other, a small experience will happen almost on a daily basis, which makes me sometimes stop in my tracks and think, is this really happening? It's like I wake up every day thinking like I'm living a dream,
Sure.
Because I was this one kid who was just Bollywood fixated, fascinated, obsessed almost, growing up watching Hindi movies. Wanting to be a part of Hindi movies in some capacity with really no guarantee. In fact, it was quite a long shot, given, where I was. So I think, to answer your question, I would have to say I sort of made my own luck.
Sure.
I struggled for 3.5 years in Mumbai. Your typical haath mein portfolio, going from pillar to post, office to office, sir, I'm a new actor. Please consider me for work, and calls would come. I'd go for auditions, the routine drill. Of course, there are challenges there as well. It can be very disheartening, this, that, and the other. But I would have to say that I made my own luck. I put myself out there. I put myself in a position where if that good wave came along, I could ride it.
Right.
And then one call changed my life. Shanu Sharma, who heads casting for Yash Raj Films, called and said, Yash Raj Films are looking for a new boy. And I was like, really? These guys? They're like the biggest banner in the country. And they only work with established stars. So I was scratching my head, is this for real? So Ranbir Kapoor had said no to a film called Band Baja Barat. And they were looking for a new face. And they were auditioning. I think they did thousands of auditions. And when I got that call and I found out it was legit, I knew all too well that this is what I've been waiting for. It was the opportunity. I preserved my face, so to speak. I didn't do music videos. Yeah. I didn't become a VJ. There were many offers: modeling, acting,
television,
ads, small parts. There are certain films that actually went on to get made that were reasonably successful that I actually turned down, and the producers were like, kid, you are crazy. You got no chance. Your chances are like 1,000,000 to 1.
Right.
And here we are launching you in a proper legitimate feature film as the lead, and you're turning us down. You must be crazy. But I don't know. maybe it was destiny. Something told me that this is not it and I ought to stick it out and wait for something bigger. And I got a massive launch for somebody who is essentially, for lack of a better word, an outsider. To get a role like that, a lead role, opposite Anushka Sharma, who had already done Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi by then, a reasonably recognizable star at the time. It was a big launch. And once Band Baja did what it did, came out of the blue, no one expected anything of it, or from me, looking at this face on a poster. My producer and mentor, Aditya Chopra, was like, look at your face. I can't sell this face on a poster. So my son, you will have to act really well if you want people to like you. You know, he said, you're not conventionally good looking, which is a polite way of saying you're damn fugly. And Adi doesn't mince his words. So, so yeah,
You know, since you brought it up, Ranveer, I'm going to say this, since you brought it up, you know, I remember when the trailers and the posters of Band Baja Barat came out, everyone was like, this is the guy that Yash Raj Films is launching. Unconventional. You know, there was even at that time, and I think you'll recount as well, I mean, it got to the point where people were so surprised, they were like, has his dad financed this movie? You've heard that. It took for the movie to come out and be blown by your performance that people went, so Adi actually knew exactly who he was launching. This guy's got the goods. That's exactly how it played out, didn't it?
Yeah, I remember I was at this multiplex in Juhu, this suburb of Mumbai, and I usually go watch a lot of movies over there. And I was there and I was loitering, and there were people who were loitering around with me, and they were checking out various standees, and they came to the standee of Band Baja Barat. And I was just loitering around trying to eavesdrop, like, what do they say? What are they going to say about this poster? They're like, who's this guy? This is Yash Raj's new boy. Yeah. So that was like really disheartening. My movie was going to come out. So yeah, I mean, I was all set to I don't know what I would have done if, honestly, I didn't get a good start in Band Baja Barat. I don't know where I'd be. It was that making that mark at the outset, more than anything, and not that it did great box office numbers, but it's a film that has such a great memory.
Right.
You know, Arjun Kapoor, a very dear friend of mine, jokes that धंधा 20 करोड़ का, लेकिन legacy 200 करोड़ की. That's what he says about Band Baja. So it really did put me on the map. And yes, I remember very clearly that was very heartbreaking. And it was my first experience, you know, having something negative written about me in the press. That was one of the first times that I had to deal with that. And it was very heartbreaking. I was like, man, you're taking something that means so much to me, you know. I did all this on my own. You take something that I've worked so hard for, that I'm so proud of, and you reduce it to, you know, a negative article. And more than anything, what really the killer blow was that when I was on Facebook, I'd get messages from other aspiring young actors saying, hey, I got more than 10 lakhs. Where do I have to give it? And that was really heartbreaking, because what message are you sending out to other aspiring actors?
There's no other way to get
after decades, after years, you have an example here of Aditya Chopra realized that the star system was killing the industry at the time. He realized the need of the hour was to breed talent, to give acting talent a break on the basis of their merit and not of their legacy necessarily. And he started with Anushka, followed up by me. And mine was a great example. A leading man, suddenly born out of just sheer auditioning process, the way it should be.
Correct.
You know, and it was a great example and for aspiring young actors that if you're in it for the right reasons, you've got the chops, and you hustle with a little bit of luck, it might happen for you.
Sure.
But they tried to kill that. But I think over a period of time, people realized.
Fairly soon after, actually, right after Band Baja
Adi
Barat.
probably knows what he's doing.
Ranveer, if there is one overarching theme or one overarching quality that sort of defines both your public personality and the work, which is certainly evident from Padmavat, and also actually Bajirao Mastani, it is the quality of fearlessness. There is a go for broke approach to the work, which is so evident in that portrayal of Alauddin Khilji most recently. There's also a sort of care a damn attitude to the dressing, to the attitude. Now, is that something that was always there, or was there a turning point when it was, you know, when it just became okay, or something inside you clicked, it was okay to be who you are and not care?
That's a great question, actually, because when I first came into the limelight, so to speak, I was very nervous. Like, I was like, suddenly, because Band Baja happened and it was overnight.
Yeah.
It was like the movie came out on Friday and on Monday I'm famous. And I didn't grow up around anybody famous. So I was like, how do you deal with this beast? It really, this fame or stardom or whatever you call it, it hit me like a truck. I had no idea how to deal with it. In fact, I was reeling from that hit for 2 years, till I got validation for my work in about, I debuted in 2010, till 2013, till I got some real validation for my work, for the critical acclaim for Lotera, and then the critical acclaim and the commercial success of Ram Leela on the back of each other. I didn't know who to be, how to be, what to say, what to do. I used to dress different, speak different, act different. Every decision was affected by this notion in my head that, hey, I want people to like me.
Right.
Hey, I want people to like me. We're in the business almost of wanting people or making people like us.
Right.
So seeking that constantly all the time, I was making affected decisions in my demeanor, in my dressing, at every level. That maybe this is how a young upcoming leading man in mainstream Hindi films is supposed to dress or say the right things. Or so it took 2 years, and I sort of came into my own after people were like, yes, you are a solid actor, gives you self-confidence.
Sure.
And it sort of coincided with a very serious back injury that I picked up during Lotera. And I was in bed for 3 months, and I was really scared. I was like, I just started my career, and I want to be a mainstream leading man. I'm going to have to fight. I'm going to have to dance. I'm going to have to do so many things. And here, I may not be able to stand. So this is really scary. It kind of changed me. I had a huge spike in my outlook or evolution, so to speak. Those months were very, very difficult. To come back from a slip disc at that age, at that stage rather, when I was just, there's so many things, and here I was. So that little bit of a scare sort of made me internalize, and I was like, man, these things are too fragile. Aaj hai, kal nahi hai. So just live every day like it's your last,
Sure.
you know?
You know, this is something that comedians and people that make people laugh every day for a living complain about. And I think that it applies for you as someone who aims to please most of the time. Is there a pressure, is there a constant pressure to be on all the time? You know, I see videos, and I'm sure everyone will agree, anyone who follows you on social media or who follows, paparazzi pictures and videos will see that when you're walking out of the gym, there's a mela of fans who want selfies and who want you to constantly be on. Is there a lot of pressure? Are you allowed to have a bad mood day?
Well, to very simply answer your question, no, you're not allowed. There is a certain responsibility. You are an entertainer. I take it upon myself to be an entertainer, to be a people pleaser, to spread smiles and joy and cheer and happiness. And I believe that's my calling, really. But it's interesting that you point that out, because when I come out of the gym, I've left everything in the gym. I've got nothing left to give. So sometimes a lot of people will catch me at my lowest or worst point, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I love interacting with people. I love crowds. I love large crowds. I get very excited when somebody gets excited seeing me, you know. It's like, till date, I can't believe I'm a movie star, so like, I get damn excited. Priyanka Chopra, another dear friend of mine who I've worked with, she articulated, she was like, देखो पता है ना तू क्या है? तू वो लड़का है कि जिंदगी भर तेरा यही है. देखो मम्मी, मैं स्टार बन गया, you know. So I can hardly believe it. But I love large crowds. I love interacting with people. I think it's a very beautiful thing that somebody, like, you're passing by on the road and you know, you're passing by, and then somebody, and you look at somebody, and somebody goes from this to, I think, you know, that little surge of positive feeling that comes to them, you have to value that. I had a recent fan interaction myself with one of my childhood idols, the footballer Thierry Henry. Man, he was so kind to me, he was so gracious, he almost moved me to tears. I couldn't believe that this guy I've watched and loved and admired for so long could be so kind towards me. After that, after that interaction, I have so much more value for that fan-celebrity interaction, that sentiment. That's not to say it doesn't get testing.
Sure.
You know, amongst a crowd of 20 people, you will have some rowdy opportunists. And you will have genuine fans as well. Over a period of time, I've developed a sense to immediately, I can look at a bunch of 20 people and immediately point out who the real fans are and who are just rowdy opportunists making a ruckus because they're getting a kick out of it. And they have to be dealt with. But yeah, I think I've got a lot more patience for this than my peers. The thing is, it can get very testing in today's time. It wasn't like this 4 or 5 years ago. Now, with the advent of mobile phone technology, things have become really crazy. I am not kidding you. I was in the airport on the way here today, and I had my headphones on, and I was bobbing whilst standing in front of the stall, and I turn around, and there's a guy holding a phone. And I had to actually go up to him and tell him, I hope you've not taken a video. Please show me your phone. For God's sake, I'm taking a piss, you know.
I was going to ask you, what's the strangest place you've been asked for a selfie?
This morning, you know. But there's a lot to learn from. It happened to me once at the round table, if you please.
Right.
I was with Mr. Akshay Kumar, one of my screen idols. You know, I've admired him ever since I was a kid. And we were side by side, and we turned around, and there was somebody filming the both of us together.
Wow.
But to see how he dealt with the situation, you learn a lot.
Sure.
You learn from Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, you know, the way he treats fans, the way he deals with people. There's a lot to learn. You take some positive learnings from your seniors. But I think mobile phone technology has made it very, very difficult. You're like, you have to be switched on all the time. You don't know when somebody is filming you.
That's interesting you say that, because I want to ask you, Ranveer, you know, do you feel that in this current, in this current day, with social media and mobile phones, that element of mystery, which used to be so crucial to being a star maybe 10 years ago, has kind of gone out of the window? Of course, you've said, in fact, that you grew up wanting to be an actor. You grew up a big fan of Amitabh Bachchan. We've seen that perhaps the Khans, the three Khans are, you know, that last generation of superstars that has had that kind of mystery, perhaps to some degree. It's interesting because now all of them are on social media as well. From Mr. Bachchan to Shah Rukh to Salman, everyone's also...
To even Mr. Amir Khan now.
To Mr. Amir Khan most recently. Do you feel that element of mystery is gone out? Do you feel that there will be another generation of superstars of that size? Or are the Khans the last generation of that kind of superstars? I have to tell you, I asked this question to Shah Rukh a couple of months ago, and he said, there will always be superstars, there'll be different superstars. Now there'll be social media superstars, there'll be YouTube superstars. Where do you weigh in?
Yeah, I had a similar conversation with Mr. Khan, and he was like, we are the last of the Mohicans. You, not so much. Well, he's right. I don't think, you know, now there are more choices, there are more avenues, there are more platforms. So the love of the audience is now fragmented naturally, because earlier there was a bunch of maybe 6 guys, 8 guys, 10 guys, 12 guys that you could direct, you know, that feeling towards. Now there are 30, 35. You like someone's face, you like someone's acting. It's fragmented. You like one movie this guy was in, but you like another movie that guy was in.
But do we know too much about our favorite stars?
I would have to agree, but that is now the changed,
right,
revised, evolved meaning of of celebrity.
Sure.
We know we have some celebrities who really don't achieve much in what they do for all practical purposes, but are huge stars because people like to witness their lives via these mediums, via social media.
And they exist everywhere.
Yeah, they don't do much, but they're really big and famous. They're stars just on account of the way they live their life. So this is the nature of the beast. You have social media, which has tons of advantages, has some disadvantages, but what it's most certainly done is given you immediate access into the most private world of someone who, in the earlier meaning of celebrity, was inaccessible.
Indeed.
You don't know anything about them. Now you know what they're listening to in the morning, what they're eating for breakfast, you know, how much traffic there was on the way to their work. So for me personally, I need to balance that out. You know, I need to be there, be accessible. It's a great medium to keep your ear to the ground, to see everything that's going on and keep abreast. And also have a direct channel of communication with your followers, people who subscribe to your work.
How much do you engage? How much is there a back and forth?
I engage a lot. She'll tell you. I know a lot of the real lovers, fans by their name. I know what's going on in their lives. You know, it's and I don't find all this to be an effort. I want to do it. You know, if you want to do something, if you really feel like that, it doesn't feel like an effort. So, so yeah, I'm good with people that way. I have a lot of patience, but sometimes things do get out of hand. Like, and you know, when they will cross the line, but then when you, you know, you reprimand them in whatever way, mild or strong, depending on the situation, they'll say, "Lekin hum to fan hai."
Right.
And then what do you say? You just melt.
Right.
You know, I went for a swim to the club, came out. I was in the changing room, buck naked, and I'm drying my hair in one of the stalls. I look, there's a guy filming with his light on. I was like, light to off kar leta. To pakda nahi jayega to kya karega? So I've run across.
So there's an MMS clip of you somewhere out there in the world?
I've run. I ran across, in my condition, ran across the changing room. I said, "Hey!" I've run, and because of the way I've shouted, he's panicked and forgotten to run away. So I was, can you imagine naked me going, "Hey, hey!" and this guy's like, so I caught his arm and I grabbed the phone. That was the first thing I did. I had, fortunately, the presence of mind.
And deleted it.
Rajiv, if that video came out...
Sorry, ladies, it doesn't exist.
I had to destroy it. But yeah, I mean, it goes to this extent almost every other day, you know. So, so then it becomes...
but you're able to have a sense of humor about it.
It becomes only natural to then weed out the real love and the real fans from the opportunists.
It's good that you're able to have a sense of humor about it.
What else? What is there? Life mein aur kya rakha
Yeah, I'm not sure a lot of us, if we were filmed like that, would be able to laugh about it.
It wasn't very, I mean, I can narrate it in a funny manner. It was anything but funny for me at the time.
Okay.
Because, you know what was the worst is when I actually opened the phone and saw the video. I was like, bhai, agar ye nikalta to kya hota? I'd be a national scandal. I'd be on your channel, pixelated.
He's not what he's cut out to be. Ranveer, let's talk about Padmavat before we get into the broader themes of this session. The film, of course, is a big, massive success. We spoke about how it's done now 300 crores on its 50th day. But no conversation about Padmavat is complete without talking about its rocky journey to the screen. You know, from the protests by the fringe groups, from the delay in getting certification, from the change of the title, the shift in the release date. What was it like watching all this from the front lines?
It was a very frustrating process because none of this was in my control. All of it was out of my control. It was hugely infuriating, had me livid, full of rage, wanting to act out, wanting to say, wanting to do something about what I was seeing, which I thought was absolutely wrong, but couldn't do anything, you know. Moreover, I was asked to not do anything. I don't know if you can see it, but I am known to be a hothead, you know. I'm really good with the good, but I'm really hard with the bad at the same time. There are two sides to that coin, you know. I have that intensity of feeling in a positive way, but when you flip the coin, I have that intensity of feeling for these sorts of things as well. I will never shy away from a fight or a conflict, or I've been in brawls when I was younger, you know. So I am also an extremist by nature. So I wanted to do a lot of things, but I was told not to because they would, and I had to agree at the time. It seemed most likely that if I would to get involved, things would get complicated. Because what I wanted to do could be perceived as retaliation, or you know, it would just make this whole thing bigger. And I wasn't really leading the line in the fight back. It was the producers, it was my producer director, you know, and I had to respect what they asked me categorically to do, which is, you please stay out of it. You don't say anything. Anything you say will get picked up. You know, this matter is going to get worse. We've put so much money into this film, and it may not see a release if this doesn't go our way, or or we don't sort this matter out. So don't make our lives more complicated. Please control your emotions. I had to be controlled by my team, by my folks, by my friends, and yeah, I had no. It was immensely frustrating because I wanted to say a lot and do a lot and couldn't. I decided, fine, I'm just going to put it into my performance.
Because it was all unraveling while you were still shooting the film.
Yeah, and because of the delays we faced, the way the shooting of this film went, that I would be sitting at home for months, you know, committed to one film at one time, just sitting, not shooting, not knowing whether this film will get completed, not knowing whether this film will get made. And all my bits came at the end. Like, the largest chunk of my work in the film was shot towards the very end. And it was very testing, because in a costume drama can be a very heavy process. You need to shoot for 4 days and take 2 days off to recover from what you've done, especially when you're giving so much, and especially when you're performing for Mr. Bansali, because he really draws that you know, amount of energy out of you. So it was a testing period. I think barring maybe Baji Rao Mastani, there were times where I was like, I can't do this. I can't go. I used to call my mom at like 1 in the night. I'd be like, Mom, I can't go to work the next day. I don't think I can do this. I've got nothing left to give. My knees are giving way. Like when I was shooting Khali Bali, that song I came dancing and prancing in on, I was in the worst condition. I had shot 35 days straight on a costume drama, which is unheard of. So I used to wobble onto the set like this. I was like, I used to take these ice baths that athletes do for their conditioning so that I could recover. I don't know what happens to me when the camera starts rolling. Though. I go from camera starts rolling, then you're on like Donkey Kong.
You know, I want to talk to you about that performance, but what I want to ask you is, does that incident, you know, looking back, does that whole incident make you cynical about the state of affairs?
Yeah, of course. Of course. it's like, it's bizarre. When I watch it, I'm like, I can't believe that this is 2018.
Yeah.
This is so blatant that it's bizarre. It borders on fascism. So it is, I found it appalling. First of all, I was in shock, which turned into rage. Because when the first incident happened on the set,
The vandalism.
yes, and the assault on Mr. Bhansali, when I saw visuals of that, I was out of control. I had to be physically held from acting and speaking and doing. I wanted to send a message back. It's the kind of person I am. Because for me, those were very disturbing visuals.
Sure.
I value my work. I value the sanctity of a film set. It's sacred to me. That is my temple, you know. That is my form of worship, in a way, as a performer, you know. Thank you. So you don't go to my place of worship and start breaking equipment. These symbolize filmmaking for me. These are symbols of cinema for me. Cameras, lenses, you know. इस equipment से लोगों का चूल्हा जलता है. There are people who work on set whose responsibility it is to do everything that is required for this piece of equipment. You know, here's a person who's essentially shaped me as an artist, who's given me so much, who has helped. I can't even tell you the amount I have, the amount of love, respect. I almost worship Mr. Bhansali. I mean, there's, his and my connection is extremely, I really love him, you know. And to see a visual of him getting beaten up, can you imagine what it would have done to me? I was supposed to be on set that day, you know. I was going to fly in from Hyderabad, and that was supposed to be my first day. So for me to see these visuals of violence, it was so infuriating, because I'll tell you what, I as a kid, the only thing I ever wanted to be was a hero. Auntie पूछती थी बच्चे बड़े होके क्या बनेंगे, मैं आंटी मैं तो हीरो बनूंगा, you know. The only thing I ever wanted to be was a hero. अभी हिंदी फिल्म का हीरो तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ जिगरे पे जीता है ना. तो you can't do that to somebody I love. You can't, you know. And I didn't have, nobody gave me a chance to, you know, then I was stopped from doing what all I wanted to. So,
but Ranveer, didn't that entire episode also sort of, you know, reveal the shocking lack of solidarity in the film industry? The popular opinion is that had the industry got together and spoken as one, that perhaps the film could not have been taken ransom in the manner that it was. I mean, all over the world, in the West, when the Me Too movement happens, the industry stands up as a whole. When it's when it's talking about gun control right now, which is really the topic that everyone's talking about. I mean, they get together, they get on the streets, they speak as they have strength in numbers. Was that something that made you upset?
no, I'm actually very proud to say that being on the inside, I have to say there was a lot of support. And I can say that very proudly. A lot of eminent personalities, film personalities, producers, directors, artists came forward in support. Now, because of the sequence of events and the timing of certain things, maybe that didn't galvanize into one unified movement.
Sure.
Or unified fight. Maybe a gap in communication between the producers of the film who were fronting the fight to get this film made, to get this film released, it just perhaps didn't mobilize.
But you're saying there was a lot
it
going
would
on
have. There was
behind.
a lot. There was a lot of support, and I was very, very pleased, and I'm very proud of that. So to say that there wasn't is a function of just logistics.
Sure,
you know.
sure. Sure. Let's talk about Alauddin Khilji, that character that you created. This is this beast of a man that you created. Really a villain for the ages, I like to think of
Kya
him as.
baat hai.
We have a clip which is a little showreel of images from your performance. Let's take a look at that clip. And what I want to ask you, Ranveer, is we know about, I'm guessing anyone who's watched the film and who's read, who reads about films, we know about the prep for, we know the Khilji diet. We know that for a year and a half, every day you ate only red meat.
Yeah.
We know that there was a lot of work in the gym. We know that you isolated yourself from the family. You cut yourself off, went and rented a home. Oh no, you bought a home which you now moved into, lived alone for that whole period. But what I want to know is, was it harder? Was the physical prep for the part harder, or getting into the head and the heart of that cruel, despotic man? But let's take a look at a clip from...
I can't watch! Jio Sanjay Bansali! Yeah!
Still gives me goose flesh. Physical prep was harder, or getting into really becoming that man, just getting into the heart of...
Wow, that's so out of my system now. It's like I'm like a different person now, you know. Even watching visuals takes me back to that scary space. It's a scary space. You're messing with your own head and you're deliberating it yourself. It's a messed up place to be. So yes, getting into the head and heart of this guy was the most testing and quite a dangerous process, actually. You know, you don't know how far you're going to go into creating a character and what kind of toll it's going to take on you. You know, when I read the material, I was like, okay, this is the material. I know my process or how far down the rabbit hole I'll go with this. I might turn into a loon doing this, and I almost did. You know, for those. The physical aspect of it was not to create that bulky physique. I have done that before, so I know the challenges there, and I'm prepared for them.
Right.
I'm better equipped to do them more efficiently. It was the shooting process, you know. I couldn't. It's like my brain had turned into pulp. My body was like mush, like jelly. I'm telling you, costume dramas are particularly difficult.
Sure.
You're in 2 hours of hair and makeup.
Wow.
You know, by the time you're ready to give the first shot, you're already a bit tired, you know. And then you have to carry around a lot of stuff. You have like, that hair was like extensions. So when they used to come off at the end of the day, it's to be like, you know, it's really hard to shoot a costume drama continuously. If you get a break, you'll do much better.
Yeah.
So that's where the physical challenge came in. I used to jump into a bucket of ice at the end of every day so that my body could recover to deliver the next day. But the mental space was somewhere I've never been before. You know, for the prep period, I was studying very closely some really dark stuff, some really disturbing themes.
Right.
Right from you know, history to lives of tyrants, to genocide, to some really disturbing imagery, some disturbing stuff I was watching, and putting myself through that to kind of convince myself that there are these lengths that people have gone to historically.
Right.
You know, to convince myself that इस दुनिया में ऐसे भी लोग हैं.
It can be done.
और ऐसा भी होता है.
Right.
और लोगों ने किया है बाकायदा. So yeah, that's not a healthy space to be.
Sure.
So this character is not good for health.
Sure.
But I don't regret it, because I did go to, in my own emotional memory, go to places where, you know, I believe everybody has a dark streak. Everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and I had to tap into that in a big way for this part. But having confronted all those demons, you know, stuff that I've brushed under the carpet for years, for
Sure.
decades.
Came to the fore.
Yeah, to kind of go back in your emotional memory, address them, deal with them, you know, challenge, to kind of collect all of it. I mentioned this to you in our interview, the one of the first I gave after the release of the film. When we were finally allowed to talk about the film, I told you that it's like taking all the kachra in your system and in your being, and collecting it, and then just setting it on fire. And that combustion is the performance. So all that kachra is gone.
It's all gone.
I'm a lighter, nicer person for having played this monster.
Has emerged out of that. I know we have time for just 3 questions. If we've got, if there's a mic, please, we can give one to Anuradha in the front row.
Ranveer.
Hi.
Hi. You said that it was infuriating to watch what was happening, before the release of Padmavat, and you perhaps felt impotent, not being able to speak, do, act, anything, right, to protect the project.
Can we call it helpless? I never feel important.
I'm glad you point out the use of words. I appreciate it.
Vocab is very important to me.
Helpless. Okay. So the question is, did you feel let down by the government? Did you feel that we are in a country where the government is simply not doing enough? Did you feel let down by the government?
I think there were, you could say Mr. Prasoon Joshi did a lot for the film, which eventually saw a release. I prefer to see the positives in the situation, is that the film got made, got released, with police deployed at exhibition centers, got widely accepted by the audience. The perpetrators got taken to the cleaners after the release of the film. The film goes on to make 300 crores at the box office, setting records internationally. So I think that there is a silver lining there. There is a sense of victory for Mr. Bhansali, whose baby this is, who fought tooth and nail to get it mounted, get it made, who suffered a lot, and eventually turned out to be the victor.
So you were okay with the way the government handled it?
I don't want to rake up what's already transpired. Honestly, I would have to level with you and tell you, at a personal level in my life, I have moved on to another film. And it's going really well, and I hope you'll come and see it. It's called Gully Boy, directed by the very beautiful and talented Zoya Akhtar. And we're shooting in Mumbai, in Dharavi, in my hometown. And it's a film that's very close to my heart. It's again embedded in it somewhere or the other a social message. It's about a disenfranchised lot of the youth who live a very tough existence but find their expression in art, in music. They break through as recording artists. So it's a film that's very dear to me. I can never say no for anything to Mr. Rajiv Masan, so I've come to Delhi. But I'm in the thick of shooting, and I'm really in that zone and character. The thing is, I have to move forward. I can't keep things in my system. Like I mentioned to you, I don't keep things in my system for too long. You learn, but when I look back on Padmavat, there are only fond memories. I learned a lot doing this character. I enjoyed myself collaborating with Mr. Bhansali. Yes, we went through a lot of crap, but we were there for each other as a team. The film eventually saw the light of the day, got released, and is not just a massive commercial success, but it's seeming to me that it will be remembered. That's what you want, And Padmavat is out there for the audience, for whom it is made. It is a film that is seeming to me, like I said, that will have a memory, It'll be remembered. I had an opportunity to create this fascinating character, Alauddin Khilji. I really enjoyed it, and And hell, I'm basking in it, so like I don't know what to tell you. I'm having a blast with everything people are saying. Mr. Rajiv Masand himself is saying it's a villain for the ages. और क्या चाहिए life में यार? I'll give it half a star for Ranveer's performance.
Okay, we have another question, but very quickly, I'm going to be greedy. Ranveer, one of the characters that you're playing, that you will be playing shortly, is Kapil Dev in the
Yes,
film
sir.
83.
Yes,
This is,
sir.
of course, the World Cup victory, India's World Cup victory. What's the prep for that? Are you going to? Is it going to be an imitation? Are you spending time with him? What's that going to be like?
Well, I have Gully Boy and then my my big old masala film, Simba.
That's right.
With Mr. Rohit Shetty, the blockbuster machine. I'm really excited about that collaboration as well. But after that, there's 1983, and I'm playing a revered national hero in my first sort of biographical. Sorry, sir, I don't mean to keep you standing. But I'm damn excited to play Kapil Dev, sir. Where were you in 1983? Tell me. What was your experience watching that? I'm going to take notes and give it to Mr. Kabir Khan.
Ranveer,
Sir,
it is Deepika who has been threatened all the way
yeah.
for Padmavati.
Now you know why I got so angry.
Nothing, no cursing to you. Why? There has been nobody to threaten you. They threatened Padma only. That is Deepika.
मेरी तो कोई वैल्यू ही
What-
नहीं है सर
what was
मुझे
that?
इसको थ्रेटन करके क्या मिलेगा
The gentleman at the back.
इसकी नाक काटने में हमारी कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है
Ranveer Singh Bhavnani.
सर
You are a.
बड़ी साईं
No, I know your parents, Jagjit and Anju. Now, you are a live wire of the Bollywood, but I just want to know this: your hunger of excellence. Don't you think it will get overshadowed by the buffoonery and the vivid dressing you have, dressing sense you have? And I think now you are a superstar. You should stop going to the Khans now. I
सर
think
मैं खुद को सीरियसली नहीं लेता लोग क्या लेंगे
लेना पड़ेगा ना खिलजी के बाद मतलब मैं वही कह रहा हूँ ना. You have to.
लाइफ को मेरी फिलॉसफी ये है सर लाइफ को सीरियसली लेना ही नहीं चाहिए आज है कल नहीं है कल क्या होगा क्या पता
Good one.
Can we pass the mic to the lady in the red sari? The lady in the red sari.
Hi, Ranveer.
Yes,
it was a
ma'am.
pleasure listening to you.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Deepti Taneja. I'm a professor. Yeah. I just have two pointed questions for you.
Ji.
One, this flamboyant self that you portray your image as, that is the real you, or is it because of the media limelight that you're in? This flamboyant and over-the-top dressing, as Mr. Malhotra just pointed out. And second, a question is that you very beautifully avoided the question of what ma'am just asked, later on what has been the government take on Padmavat. I still want to ask you a pointed question that had the transformation from Palhaj to Prasoon not happened, do you think Padmavat would have seen the same fate as it has seen now under Prasoon being the CBFC head? Thank you.
Let me answer the second one first. I really don't know. You know, I don't know that many details to know what would have happened if it was the case differently. I have no idea. All I know is Mr. Prasoon Joshi did support the film. It got released, and the film is where it is today and what it is today. This flamboyance for which nobody takes me seriously. What do I say about that? Like we discussed earlier, I had a phase in about 2013 where it's sort of something went off in me, where I decided I don't need to try and fit into a mold of what I think is expected of me. I'm just going to do what I feel like, say what I feel like, dress the way I feel like, do what I feel. You know, and it's less taxing. There was a lot of effort in my persona in the first 2 years.
Being someone else.
Yeah, it was like I was trying to be somebody I was not. And when I started, you know, just doing whatever I felt much easier. You know, I'm on a WhatsApp group with about 40 of my classmates from school, and we chat every day. This is not surprising to them at all. You know, they're not scratching their head saying, what is he wearing? You know, because they have seen it since school. This is the kind of kid I was. Even in my report cards, you'd see 95, 94, 93, maths mein 35, and then in the remarks you would see when I go back and I see my old report cards, all the things that teachers say about me sort of add up, that he loves to entertain people, he's vivacious in class, gregarious, always talking, always fooling around, and I was always pushing the style envelope even when I was in 4th standard. I was like, when we started getting cable television and you started watching these hip-hop videos when MTV came, and we started watching Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, and I was wearing baggy pants, and nobody was wearing baggy pants at the time. So you'd go to wear baggy jeans you're wearing, you're going to play cricket, and like, hey, chaddi dikh rahi hai teri, hey. Then I was like ahead of the curve. So yeah, I've always been this way, ma'am. And
okay.
Yeah.
The gentleman at the back in the white. No, ma'am. We've given you 2 questions. No, we've given you 2 questions. There needs to be other people need a chance.
You think so? I will stay the furthest away from politics, I assure you.
Hi, Ranveer. My name is Abhijit Chatterjee. I'm a technopreneur. I just want to know that after the success of this Padmavat film, and what is your relationship now with Deepika Padukone? And the number 2 is,
Hey.
what do you think about your marriage, and when you are going to tie that knot, and with whom?
Are you sussing the situation? Like, what's going on with Deepika? This guy doesn't make a move, I'm going to swoop in.
No, really,
What are you
I
doing
want to
here?
know.
I think it is a relationship of mutual admiration. I would like to believe. But not, honestly, it's like one-way admiration, because I rate her very highly as an actor and she doesn't. She's like, you are just a ham, get out of here. Yeah, she's awesome. There's a lot to learn from her, honestly, as an artist. There are a lot of things I have learned from her that I'm very thankful to her for sharing with me. She is somebody I learned from, not just in the craft of acting, but how to be as a well-rounded, wholesome human being. She's just an amazing person, and I'm very blessed to have her in my life.
Okay. Thank you very much.
जानवर को जगाओ, अपने अंदर के जानवर को जगाओ. Hi. Selfie. Selfie. Just see how awkward Raji is. 1 minute, मुझे 1 minute दे दो. अरे आंटी. अच्छा आंटी नहीं, sorry. Thank you guys, you've been so amazing.
You've been wonderful.
Thank you for hearing my nonsense. Really awesome to be here. Delhi is a 1 minute, a city where I have a very special connection. Band Baja happened here. So many people think I'm a Delhi boy even today. So being here is always amazing, and thank you all for being here and listening to me. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Ranveer, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much indeed.